What's going on, guys? Hoping to come back to it. And I wanted to bring you a video about roly-poly fat boy Martin. And again, guys, man, I'm sorry that I use such colorful language to describe fat boy. And again, man, no pun intended. But the reason why I use such colorful language is because the guy is, he's just a rat-ass piece of shit. I mean, he really is. I mean, all the guy does is race bait. That's all the guy's ever done. Race bait and try to pick things and try to get things started, keep things going, whatever. And he did because it sells. And that's why he does what he does. It sells. And he loves it. He loves every damn bit of it because it makes money. And, you know, the fact of the matter is, man, the white man nowadays, they bent over backwards. And they have for a long time in order to make things easier for black people to get into certain programs or schools or whatever. They have bent over backwards. Hey, look, you could score 200 points less to get into Harvard. Because again, you know, there's not enough black people. Look, if black people, you know, some worked a little bit harder on what they are, maybe they could get it into Harvard. Or, you know, get into Harvard on their own. But, you know, and again, I had no problem with that. Nobody would, but people, they're starting to get black fatigue. They really are. And they're getting sick. With the white man, I think is getting sick. Being smashed over the head and blamed for every damn problem. And again, you know you're dealing with an evil, nasty person or group of people if all they do is blame and yell. If you blame and you yell, you know, the white man's keep me down, I can't do anything, I can't. And you have equal rights. You're making an excuse. You know, again, man, anytime you have DEI type programs, you don't have equality. That literally means you don't have. That is, you know, again, probably one race over others because you feel like you don't have enough of them in your workplace or whatever, in a certain field or a certain college or whatever. But I want you, and that's what they're talking about in the clip I'm going to show you. But watch here and like and comment and tell me what you think.
This is also why I could never serve in office. Because, man, I be getting censured. They'll be like, you shouldn't be cussing. You know, I spoke to a fellowship today, and the senior saints be like, Roland, stop cussing. I'm like, y'all, I'm trying not to cuss, but these folk just make me cuss. But I ain't gonna come close to cussing recent. But here's a perfect example. I saw this exchange, and maybe it's because she's from the Bay Area, but Congresswoman Lateefah Simon, when I say hashtag team whip that ass rolled into Capitol Hill like a hurricane, and Nola could use her windscreen for that, like a hurricane, yo.
Would you rather have a doctor who studied the hardest in school and was the most qualified to perform the surgery, or a doctor that was in that position because of their race or gender? Which one would you rather have, Mr. Langton?
I'd prefer a well-qualified physician.
Dr. Smith?
At the risk of not keeping it real, I want the best physician.
Dr. Glock?
The best physician.
And Dr. Harper?
Are only the best physicians white?
I don't care what the
That wasn't a question.
Okay. Do you guys agree with yes or no, do you agree with Dr. Martin Luther King's statement that people should be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin? Mr. Langton?
Absolutely.
Dr. Smith?
Yep.
And Dr. Glock?
Absolutely.
And Dr. Harper?
Martin Luther King would absolutely be repulsed by the politicized attacks on diversity, equity, inclusion.
So you're not going to say yes or no? Yes or no? You got to say yes or no.
No, listen, I'm telling you right now.
Well, I
that
disagree. Well, I
hiring
gotta
and
move on to the next
promotion
question.
based. Are you advocating
We are out of
hiring and
time
promotion
here. We are out
based
of
on
time.
character?
Would also be repulsed
or
by the
are
lack of
you-
class level value.
Stands for didn't
that
earn
DEI
it.
gets rid of.
And the answer is yes or no.
Are we hiring people based on skills and experiences, or are we hiring them based on character?
It should be quality and not race and sex.
Made it clear he doesn't want to answer the question. Why don't you go on to the
No, he was asking for clarification. I think that's fair.
The answer to that question should be pretty much, straight up. Straight up. And it should be the most qualified person. You should want the most qualified person in their position, or, except in certain schools, the ones that score the highest, that do the work the hardest, those are the ones you want in. And again, you have plenty of very qualified black physicians that again do very well. Black lawyers, so many black professionals that, again, that do well and have done so on their own. They're not chosen because of their skin color. Now, I'm not saying the ones that are chosen because of their skin color weren't qualified to a degree, but if they were white, would they have gotten in? That needs to be the standard right there. If you were white, if you were Asian, would you have still gotten in? And see, so many of these folks, they would not have gotten in. Their skin color, yes, they scored at the lowest acceptable level. But their skin color, oh, that's what got them in. That is what is wrong. And that is everything against equal rights. These were things were equal. People would get in on their merit. They would get in on what they knew, how well they performed. That's what they would get in. Not because he performed at a very minimal, acceptable level. And then they just happened to be black or be female or be whatever. And again, that stuff is wrong.
This is a very, very difficult conversation. I'm a great granddaughter of someone who had a literal yoke on her neck. A literal yoke. And I will give the 4.5 minutes of my time to my people from Malvern, Arkansas, from those fields. And I want to be clear that 4 out of the 5 of you last year posted on your social media the words of Dr. King. And there are so few folks who actually have studied, who are clear on the theology of freedom of King. Very few of you have read and studied and have sat in Ebenezer Baptist Church. So I would ask you, you keep Dr. King's name out of your mouth. If you, like me and the many scholars who will be watching, studied King, you know that he and the mothers and the fathers of the civil rights movement and of the movement for emancipation not only would be struck by the conversations in this room, but would be shattered by the consequence of lies, of hatred, of abuse of this administration in the name of folks who worked to make this country more free. Children of Abraham, for real. I want to be clear for the young people that are listening today here in this audience, this conversation is not about an acronym. It's just not. It's just not. This is a conversation. It's an attack. It's an attack on what you see right here. Now, see, who's on this side of the dais? This was never the plan. It was never the plan to have people of color in positions where they would be able to speak from this place. In fact, folks had to fight tooth or nail to gain access to the front door to this Capitol. I want to be very clear about that. Today's hearing says quietly and actually out loud who the majority believe is allowed to belong in this country. They use Dr. King's name in deep vein, who has a place in the hierarchy that was never meant to be questioned. The majority is leading a coordinated effort, I want to be clear, to push us back to a segregated America based on race, based on ethnicity, based on national origin, based on sex, based on sexual orientation and gender identity and disability. Inclusion, as a disabled woman, they have been very, very clear, including folks who look different than the standardized white man in this country, folks who are disabled, folks who love differently. Those folks should not be at the center of power. That's the plan.
Lady, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And you're telling people, you're up there talking about being oppressed and talking about not being able to say certain things and do certain things because you're black or people of, a certain time period. They couldn't do things or say things or whatever because they're black. But you're telling the white men to keep Dr. Martin Luther King's name out of their mouth. They have no idea what they're talking about, but you do. Apparently you don't because, again, you're telling them they don't have the right to say that. You're a joke. And again, right now, it takes no courage, none, sit there and say what you said. No courage. Right now, it's popular to say whatever you want to say about the white man. You can say whatever. If you're black, especially if you're a black female, you can say whatever. Whatever you want to say about the white man. Because the white man's evil. He's keeping you down. He's telling you what you can and can't do. Look at your attitude. Look at your fake rage. You have no reason to be angry. You're sitting in the best country in the world, the freest country. And proof of that is your black female ass is sitting right there where you're sitting. You're privileged. You have privileges that majority of people don't. And you're sitting there talking about how everybody else around you is privileged. While you're yelling at them, telling them to be quiet. What the hell is wrong with you? And what the hell is wrong with people like you? And yeah, I'm talking about a lot of black folks. What is wrong with you folks? You live in a great country. Everything you have. I'm not saying everything was great years ago with slavery and whatever, but slavery was practiced around the world at one time. In England and the U.S., they got rid of it first. But the fact that you're sitting where you're sitting talks about the greatness of the country that you live in. The fairness. But of course, you hate the country. You sit there and talk about the white man, white this, white that. This country was built and founded by white men. Hate to break it to you, but it was. Did slave labor help out with stuff? Sure. But this country was founded and built by white men, and it would have been built regardless of slave labor. People like you just don't get that. And you yell and you act like you're the victim and you're outrage and whatever about somebody using Martin Luther King's words. If you yourself, a self-proclaimed scholar, actually understood those words, you would never have said what you said.
You ain't in no studio to be cute. You in church. I don't want no studio sound. I want a church sound. Something on the inside.
Hey, she took him to church, Greg. Greg, she took him to church.
Yes, took him to church.
That's how, come on, bring it down. That's how you do that, Greg.
Well, God bless Lateefah Simmons, Congresswoman Simmons. I wouldn't do that because I don't give a damn about that hillbilly from Central Virginia. And if I were to see McGuire in person, I probably would pass him by to a press conference roasting him. He's beneath contempt. So God bless her for that. I tell you though, man, it presumes that they don't know. In the case of McGuire, who was a Navy SEAL and came all this stuff, he clearly has the intelligence to know better. Unlike somebody like Tommy Tuberville, who is brain damaged, apparently. But I think there's the other option. I may or may not know, but more importantly, it isn't germane to my agenda. I have the power. And so therefore, you can make the most compelling logic case that you would like. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. There's only one way to stop this, y'all. We have to be organized and we have to act politically, including in the next cycle of the ballot box. What Lateefah Simmons did, that's great to show to some young people. What we're seeing from some of the Democrats, Jamie Raskin, people, Jasmine Crockett, we're seeing civics lessons. If you want to package that and put it on a platform and teach young people civics, fine. But them people there, as Malcolm X would say, you're speaking a language they don't understand.
But here is what the problem is. Right there. They're playing church music, telling you that, you have your right to be angry. No, you don't. And that's what they teach their kids. Not all black people, but a good amount. That's what they teach the next generation. And again, you're doing them no favors, which is why, black people are 13% of the U.S. population, yet they commit 53% of all violent crime. Again, they're entitled. They're mad. They're angry. And they've been taught to be that way by their moms, by their grandmoms. They've been taught to be that way. They've been taught they have the right to be that way. And if anyone speaks against that, they're racist. They're bad. They can't talk about that. They can't say a thing because guess what? They don't know because they white. Yeah? And you're black. You don't know anything about being white. Nothing at all. Don't sit there and play that game. But that's what they do. They play that game. And they get mad if anyone again talks against them, what they believe. And they say it's racist. Oh, you don't agree with me because you're racist. You can't say that. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, they can. And I'm glad they are. But just because the liberal white Democrats don't say anything to you, doesn't mean nobody is going to. And doesn't mean that they're not allowed to. See, that's what happens when you have people that have been privileged for so long. Yes, I'm talking about black folks that have been privileged for so long. They think they can say and do whatever the hell they want to say and do, and they have no pushback. And then when they finally do get pushback, they're like, oh my God, who do you think you are? And that's what the problem is. And again, imagine whatever the guy's name that was in that dashiki or whatever the hell he's wearing. Imagine if he were white and he were talking about black politicians and calling them hillbillies and whatever. But instead of hillbillies, saying something else. Again, people would be outraged.
I believe that what she's doing and what Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett does, and again, and look, what we're seeing from the guy who just won the Democratic primary in New York is understanding the moment and what people are looking for right now. They are looking for fighters. They are looking for people who are not going to back down. And it may be folk who say, I don't even agree with you, but at least you showing some fight. At least you're showing something. And see, and I'm about to walk through this because I'm going to show you a couple of things. I'm going to show y'all, and everybody's going to talk about it, but I need people watching to understand what we're talking about. How you present, how you speak, how you leverage your voice is important, because the folks sitting at home are saying, if y'all want me to get off the couch, if y'all want me to go walk door to door, if y'all want me to canvass, if y'all want me to phone bank, you got to give me something to work with. And the regular ass, boring Chuck Schumer, same old, I ain't swinging for that. That ain't moving me. That ain't fighting for me.
Yeah, who Roland Martin's talking about is that new mayor, or will be. It looks like new mayor of New York. He won the primary last week, and I believe he's going to be the new mayor of New York. He's a Muslim socialist. I mean, allow that to really sink in. The guy is a Muslim socialist. This is America. And again, if that's what people want, move somewhere else. I mean, really, you have no idea. The thing is, right now, the people they're indoctrinated. They feel like, you know what? Yeah, it's going to be so much. It's going to be so much better when we share alike. When everything is equal. You don't want things equal. You want things equitable. And as soon as you have equity, you don't have equality. It's gone. It's done. Do you not understand that? When you start propping certain people up, you're allowing making other ones work harder just to get to the place where they were before. And you're going to keep taking it away from them. Because, they're white, or they're this, or they're that, or they're whatever. And eventually you're going to have people that, okay, whatever. I'm not going to work hard anymore. And then you're going to have a country full of people that don't try. I mean, right now, no offense, but a lot of your black Democrats, they don't care. They don't try. Your LGBTQ, these folks think there's something owed to them. There's nothing owed to any of you. Do you not get that? Nothing is owed. Nothing is owed except for equal opportunity, which there is. Nothing is barred to you because of the color of your skin or because of your sex or whatever. It's not barred to you. Nothing is. But, you think it ought to be easier for you to get something. And that's where you start running into problems. We have people that are so sick in this country. We have gays for Palestine. Do you not realize what they would do to you if you were there? if you went against their government, if you protested over there, you have a great year. You have a good life here. You know, the God knows what they would do to you over there. People need to wake the hell up. They've got to wake the hell up. And they got to turn people like Roland Martin off. But if you guys could, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks. You son of a.